All right, in today's video, Dave, Eric, and myself, we sit down and kind of hash out our opinion on the obvious war between good and evil that is raging within our country right now. This comes in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder and obviously hit all of us deeply. So I hope you guys find some value in this conversation. It was good for me just to talk some of these things through. So give it a listen. And leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Gotcha. You guys ready?
Let's fucking go.
All right. There we go. All right. So today's podcast, we want to explore good and evil. I hear a lot of people talking about this right now. I've been talking about it. It seems like there is a literal war between good and evil going on, and it seems very apparent to many right now, obviously, with the recent events with Charlie Kirk. So Dave and I and Dave, Eric, and I wanted to sit down and kind of hash this out. Dave's going to hit it from the theology standpoint because you're really good on that side, dude. And I'll jump in on maybe on a more of a philosophical standpoint, and Eric the same. But we're going to hash that out through today's podcast. So stick around if this has been on your mind lately, as it has many. Don't go anywhere. I think we'll probably have some good points to talk about. I wanted to start with a baseline, so I got onto Chat GPT today, as I do sometimes, and I was curious. I was like, what would Chat say if someone asked the very basic question, how do I tell the difference between good and evil? Here's what it said. Telling the difference between good and evil can be tricky because it often depends on context, culture, personal values, and perspective. Here are some guiding principles, however, based on that. So look at the outcome. Good usually leads to outcomes that support life, well-being, growth, or harmony, and evil often results in harm, suffering, destruction, or exploitation. So that's a pretty simple way of breaking it down. That's like the basic definition of good and evil, according to AI. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I say we just light this up right now because
light it up, David.
Let's let the threats come and everybody be mad. I'll tell you right now, anybody that's watching this, if you are somebody that celebrated the death of a man on television, on live stream, something that made it put ripple effects throughout the entire country and the world. If you are somebody that celebrates that or condones that, that is the piece of shit that we're dealing with nowadays. Like, that is the stuff that I don't care. I am a conservative at heart. I follow Jesus. I have my beliefs and my faith and my ethics. But I will tell you this. You could have any political figure, some that I cannot stomach, be assassinated. And I would never celebrate that.
I had the same example the other night.
I would never celebrate that.
My wife and I were talking about that, and we used Gavin Newsom, for example, who I believe is an evil human being and a complete piece of shit. But there's no way I would celebrate him getting assassinated for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
That video of Charlie, okay, the three of us in this room have seen more dead bodies than most combined, right? That's a lot. So we're not sensitive to that. We're definitely desensitized to the visuals of that, but that fucking video has run through my head over and over again, and I can't get it out.
Yeah, it's interesting when you bring up that definition, because I think we're talking about a lot of the same thing. Here's what happens when, especially if you get like religious zealots on the other side. Like, how do they get to the point where they're willing to cause death and mayhem, right, and all those things that describe evil, and how do they feel righteously about it? A lot of people are dying and fighting for causes where they're murdering innocent people. It's because they're successfully, whatever their movement is, they're able to successfully dehumanize the other side or another group of people to the extent that they no longer believe they're equal and that they are the threat. And I think that's why I have such a hard time with people online and what they're saying about Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. Because it's just a reflection of the fact that they've actually been able to dehumanize an entire movement, which is the religious conservative movement, and he deserved it because of what he would say. And anybody that supported him, our feelings don't matter because we're less. because they've taken moral superiority in the high ground. That's where this one sticks out to me, and I think it resonates so much with so many other people, because that, to me, is truly the marginalized side now. And we've been quiet for a really long time.
And that's another sign too. I continually try to choose peace. I'm willing to stand up for what I believe in. You know, you brought up Gavin Newsom. I don't ever want to see the guy die.
No.
Would I want him silenced? Do I want him not to have a position of power to affect my kids and my family? Absolutely. I wouldn't vote for him, and I don't want him in those positions. But to go that far is completely different. And, you know, you brought up the video. We've obviously talked about this at length. We have as well. But you know, I made a post because I realized you talked about the fact that we've seen a lot of this in law enforcement. I've seen things way worse, right? But none of that was ever brought home to my children. And if you are big on social media and you're still making posts and everything else, I will tell you that both sides have failed completely for our children. Because reposting those photos and those videos, bringing home something that I would never go take a photo of something that I saw as a police officer or as a fire captain and take it home and show my children that death and destruction.
No.
Oh yeah, no way.
And we did it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I sent you one of the videos, and then it didn't even measure. It didn't even hit a point for me, hit a nerve until I was home and I found out that my daughter had not seen the video. And all of a sudden it put it into perspective, and I'm like, you're never meant to see that video.
Yeah.
And I started going online. I'm like, take it down. I don't want my daughter to see that.
Well, and it changed it for me. I realized, and I'm glad you posted that because it kicked something off. It registered for me what that really meant, because my son came home and he said, "Dad, did you see what happened to Charlie Kirk?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." And we had like a quick 5-minute conversation. Then he went upstairs, and it took me, you know, the whole day and into the next day. And I watched what you posted. And I said, damn it, he wanted to talk to me about that, right? Like there was something that hit him because he brought it up. And I asked him when he came home from football, I said, which video did you see? And he explained it, and it was the graphic one that's just, it's horrific. I mean, it's rough to watch. I mean, you're watching somebody's life get taken out, and that was pretty brutal. And asked him about what did he think? Like, what did he, how'd you see it? Well, everybody was showing it around the school. Like, we can't shelter our kids from that. And today, we can't put that, we can't unring that bell. And I don't know if it's ever, and I hate it.
Do you remember when we were kids, the only way to see something like that when we were kids, you had to go march your ass down to Blockbuster Video and rent Faces of Death.
Yes.
And you feel like a dirty human being even thinking about doing that. I remember somebody I knew rented it one time, and I watched a little bit, and I was like, oh my God, like disgusting, right?
Now it's at their fingertips, man.
It's so normal.
And I asked him, I said, what did you think and what did you feel? He goes, honestly, I still got like a feeling in my stomach. It doesn't feel right. And I said, it's not supposed to. And that doesn't make you weak at all. That's not supposed to be that way. I take for granted the fact that I've been around a lot of that. And even then, I'm not totally desensitized to it. I still feel a certain way about it. You just learn how to operate within it. And it spurred a really good conversation about where we are and how his world is different than the one that we grew up in. I can't shelter him from that. And you can't shelter your daughter from that. As terrible as that sounds, that's the new world. And I just wonder with some of these things that are going on, they seem to be increasing. Are they completely desensitized to that type of trauma?
Right.
I don't like a society that is.
No, you inspired me, both of you, to have that conversation with my kids as well. And so I sat down with both of them and kind of talked through it. And it was hard. My son was kind of blasé about it, but he followed.
Which
Charlie.
is crazy, though.
It is crazy, and it bugs me. And I'm like, why? Video games, they're super graphic at this point. You can see a level of violence in them. Movies are super violent. Like, our kids have come up in that world, unfortunately.
Man, the war in Ukraine, you can find videos.
Don't even get me going on those fucking drone videos, dude.
Dude, they're bad. I mean, you can watch some incredibly.
They're heart-wrenching.
Yes, and hearing the sound somebody makes, because we've heard it, right? But when somebody's dying, I mean, and they can literally just look them up. So, I don't know, man. That's tough. And the realization that you aren't afforded the opportunity to shelter your kids from that yet.
No, you're not. I don't know what that says about the future of humanity. And maybe that's why there's been such an incredible push for religion. What was that number you said?
Oh, well, since Charlie Kirk was murdered, I don't have an exact number, but
I was thinking of the march you talked about too.
Oh, yeah, 3 million in England, something crazy. There was a massive. I mean, this is a worldwide movement.
Right.
The global searches for the Bible and Scripture, and then people that were attending over the weekend was, I mean, it skyrocketed. And you brought a really good point. I'm going to let you make it because it was before we started recording, and I think you should, about him and where people are putting him in this movement.
Well, so here's something. Embarrassingly enough, I've seen a bunch of Charlie's videos for the past few years, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't know Charlie's name. I didn't know his name until what happened the other day. I've seen this guy arguing, prove me wrong, and now I know his name. And by the way, millions, hundreds of millions of people know his name now, right? The problem that I ran into, and I made a post about this today or last night a little bit, about would he have gone out there and done that if he knew what was going to happen? And the truth is, every one of us has been in law enforcement. We put ourselves in a position where we say, yes, I'm willing to take on the risk, but we live on a shred of hope that we will come back okay, right? If Charlie knew that there was a threat out there, I still think he would have spoke. But we never know, right? We never know if that time is going to come. And what I got to is that Charlie was a believer and a follower in Jesus. Like, that was a lot of his mission. We focus a lot on the political mission because it allows us to come under a banner that is a little softer than saying, I believe in Jesus, right? It is. Saying that you're a follower, you're a believer, it's a little harder than it is to say I'm an American. And so, he had a political voice, but he also was, to the point that you said that I was making, is that he followed Jesus. He wanted Jesus to be the message, right? With most of the stuff that he did. And what I caution people is that while Charlie was an instrument used, is to not let Charlie be the message. Especially for those of you that are listening that are Christians, that you follow Jesus, or that you are a believer, to understand that he was not the message. He was a messenger that, like a lot of us, talked about Jesus. That's where his faith was. And so when stuff like this happens, like, I can't imagine, everybody feels bad for Charlie, or a lot of people feel bad for Charlie. I don't feel bad for Charlie. Charlie, just like me, I have a belief and a faith in God and in Jesus, and I know where he's at. I do reel for his family quite a bit right now because they're the ones that have to stay and suffer this, right? They're the ones, you've seen his wife. She is somebody not to be messed with right now. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I really think that the message that Charlie, if you were to put him here on the podcast with us right now, he would say his message was about Jesus, and not to forget that, because it becomes a dangerous place too, and it can become hyper political, and it become more vengeful if the focus turns to Charlie as opposed to what his real message was. And I love the fact that churches and people are going to church and doing that, because ultimately, hopefully it turned on a light for a lot of people to realize that you can be the greatest man in the world, and you're not going to avoid death. You're not going to avoid those things. You're not going to be able to be in control, which we all want to be. And, when I get back to that point on would he have gone out there if he knew, we'll never know. None of us will ever know. Jesus did. He knew, and he went out there just like him, and he was martyred. He knew 100% there was no taking that cup from him. And I think Charlie would say that exact same thing if he was here. And so to get to the point that I was trying to make is that there is a huge revival and a huge push in the Christian church, not to cause revenge or anything else, but to understand that there was a message, there was a tool. And the fact is that if Charlie's death could turn one person to Christ, you would, as a Christian, understand that that is what we're here to do. That is worth the sacrifice, right? That is worth the sacrifice. And that sucks to say, but from my faith-filled perspective, that's the thing that hits me hard, is that if people are going to learn about life from this, man, it's just part of the plan, and it sucks because this hurts.
There were some words that stuck out when you were talking to me. The vengeful thing. Yeah, I think there's a strong risk of that right now. I've seen a lot of people posting online like, we're done. The gloves are off, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, and it kind of scares me a little bit. I want to fight something too, but I don't know what to fight. You and I I think we all do. I'm sure everybody out there has liberal family members. And when I think about them, I'm like, they're not a threat to anyone, mine at least. Like they're very harmless people, good people. You know, whether they have a mind virus and they're misguided, yes, for sure, but good people. And so I think of like, I'm not going to fight them. I don't want anybody to fight them. Who do I fight?
You're right, because evil is cunning. Since we're talking about this being good versus evil,
Yes.
evil is cunning. There is no head. There is no person that you see. You can easily see, I mean, people are tattooing crosses on them. They wear their faith. They wear their belief. A lot of these people don't wear it. Like these people are cunning, and you can gear up all you want, but who do you go after?
Right. And that's what I'm afraid of. I don't want to see people take to the streets and start, burning witches. It's like, what does that mean?
Well,
Scary.
I'll tell you, man, here's where it starts with me. One, I think the point you made, it resonated with me, and I don't want it to become about Charlie, and it should be about his movement. Men are infallible, or they're fallible, right? So anybody can poke holes in anybody's life, which is what they're going to try to do. Because he's becoming a martyr, and people are going to try to poke holes in anything that he said, and they're already doing that. When it comes to people online saying we're done, gloves are off, I think back to it like this. I think some of it's recognition. I'll be the first to admit that when it really happened the first time, but when Trump won the first time, and there are people throwing tantrums in the middle of the street with the hats and purple hair and all the ridiculousness, and just shrieking, just like a 4-year-old in the middle of a grocery
or like an exorcism.
Yeah, it was shocking to me to see that type of reaction from a grown adult, and I laughed. I'm not laughing at that anymore. That's a derangement. If you are that invested, overly invested emotionally, you need to check your sources of information, because it's not teaching you to think freely and for yourself and rationally. You've gotten so emotionally corrupted and hijacked that if that's your reaction, and I think in our minds, it was almost like, all right, let them have their moment, right? Let them vent. Let them have their time, and they'll get over it like we did. You're right. When Biden got elected, I didn't like that either, but you just go back and you focus on what you can control. Don't focus on the externals, right? Focus on what you can actually control.
Yeah.
But that didn't subdue that, right? It just emboldened them, and now it's gotten worse.
And I think you're right. And the truth, too, is something to say that, whether people like it or not, this is not Democrats.
Right.
These are radicals.
Yes, I agree.
This is a radical group of people that don't know how to behave and don't understand. Charlie's whole thing was going around and wanting to sit down at the table with people. He literally started that way with the sign. He was drinking coffee and it said, "Prove me wrong."
Yeah.
Right? And he'd have something on the front. He literally tried to start a movement on conversation. And you can see 99% of the people that came up to talk to him refused to take in more information.
Right.
They 100%. They got so mad that they literally killed a man because they refused to have a conversation. Now, I don't care how far on the other side you are. I'm happy to sit down at a table and have a conversation with you, but I will not take somebody yelling at me or screaming at me or throwing a tantrum like you said. I'm over that shit.
Yeah, that's
I'm done
what I
with
mean. Like that, I no longer am just going to tolerate that emotional visceral reaction. And I hate to say it, somewhere in society, people need to get beat up. Like, I think that would solve a lot of our solutions in our community.
Yeah.
But somebody said this best. Keep this in mind. He wasn't killed for the conversations he was having, and he wasn't killed for the message. He was killed because he was effective.
Right?
It was, you couldn't beat him face to face because he came at you with facts. He was all about facts over feelings. And I wouldn't agree that 99 of them wouldn't take any. I was always amazed at the ones that you could tell he started to shift the way they thought, because he wouldn't come at them aggressively. He was competitive and he would respond to that in kind. But a lot of them, when he'd break it down and start to discuss facts, they're like, I see your point there. I see your point. I still don't agree with you. There was one at one school, and he was talking to a black guy, and it was like the anti-DEI part, right? And he's saying, well, I don't agree with the anti-DEI. And they go through this conversation. He said, well, I believe people should be judged based on the content of their character and their merits, and that's how they should get employed. He said, can we agree on that? And he said, well, yes. And by the end of it, where they were kind of agreeing to disagree, but it started off kind of volatile, but then it really chilled out. He said, do you think our country would be better off if we talked less about race and made it more about our character. The guy said, yes, I can absolutely agree with that.
Damn.
It was like those conversations.
I hope
were
this
so
sparks
impressive.
10,000 more people like that will go out and have those conversations, because that's so important.
Because people that call him a racist and everything
It's
else, I'm
all
like,
made
you are
up.
just saying words right now.
It's so frustrating to have, that kind of crap made up. And there are legions of people out there that hear it and believe it.
Right.
Like our family members probably. And they're like, oh yeah, he's a racist.
That's how you dehumanize them.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
That's how you make the violence acceptable. You make them less.
Yeah.
You put yourself on a moral pedestal where you're superior, and you dehumanize the other thought process, which is why I see such this huge, I don't know if there's middle ground anymore.
There's not, if people are not willing to actually think and they want to push a narrative as opposed to looking into any facts. What was the number one question that you saw him ask in anything that he did? What is a woman?
Yeah.
What is the definition of a woman? And you have people saying, I'm not going to give you that. And you're like, hold on.
It's a social construct.
You literally cannot, you're not even willing to give something a defining moment at all, but you want to use the word. If you tell me microphone and you say define a microphone, I'm not going to say it is a microphone. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to tell you, it's just, Seth puts it in front of my face and it goes on here, and I like you when you have people that are unwilling to even use, I don't even want to use the word logic. I can't.
Reason.
Like, just which way's up? Up is whatever way you want. No, it's fucking not.
Yes.
It's not. It's one direction, and that's it. Like, just that is the stuff that was so hard. And when you have those people, you can put one of them sitting right here, and all we're going to hear is somebody screaming and yelling over here, pulling their hair.
Oh yeah, because you can't respond. That's why he was so powerful, and I think there was such a movement to cast him as a racist and a bigot and a Nazi, because you couldn't defeat him with facts, because he was very adept at recalling facts, and he studied and he read and he was self-taught, and I loved it because it was on a college campus that's supposed to be an institution of higher learning where you come out with a better grasp of a whole bunch of doctrine, and he would eviscerate kids that came up, right? But honestly, also solicit conversation, and it didn't have anything to do with the fact that he was going to a college. It was fascinating.
You know what's really telling to me, and this ties back into good and evil. Anytime these radical lefts, somebody's phone's ringing. Kill you, Dave. Anytime, someone gets shot, shitbag gets shot. Let's use George Floyd, for example. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't care. He's a criminal. He's a piece of shit. He gets shot by the cops. What happens after that? In every city in the United States.
Oh, looting, burning.
Are those things aligned with our definition of good or evil?
Evil.
Dude.
Evil.
It's taking something out on everybody else.
Right.
And let me ask you a question. Honestly, you guys can answer however you want. Because I'll tell you, George Floyd, would you want to see him dead?
No.
I don't want to see George Floyd dead. There's a lot of people that I don't want to see dead. I also think in enacting your duties and everything else, that there is that if you don't follow order, if you do things illegal, that it can lead to your own injury, death, whatever else, because you will not comply with certain things.
It leads to your own demise.
I get that, but I do not celebrate the fact that George Floyd is dead.
No.
I will not do that, and I will never do that.
No.
Let me finish my point. So George Floyd is killed, and he was not murdered, right? There were maybe some mistakes made, whatever.
100%.
He died. Now we have this situation, and we see the result, which we can all agree is evil. People take to the streets and trash everything and hurt small business and hurt people. And then we have this man who was murdered in cold blood. And what is the result? People praying, people coming
Vigils,
to God.
man. Like
vigils, no violence.
People saw
no looting.
He was like the voice of. I think it's happening because people resonate with him. So many of us sat on the sideline quietly because in a lot of ways our voices were suppressed. How many cops and first responders do you think feel similar to Charlie Kirk and what his values and vision was? We couldn't say anything. If we would have said what he said on social media, there isn't a departmental policy in the country that would have allowed for that.
Right.
No.
So I think there's a whole lot of people out there that resonate with Charlie Kirk because of what he said. And then he was killed for it. And it was like, so I'm not allowed to have a voice anymore. But they aren't responding violently. They're doubling down on what he preached.
That to me, that difference in the after shows me what side is values good and what side values evil. It's pretty fucking clear.
It is. You know what? When we use that term evil too, this is one, I just talked about having a definition. It's a hard one to define.
Sure.
Because with evil, there is such a broad canopy of things that covers, from selfishness to arrogance to, there's so many things, right? I think everybody has I don't want to say has evil tendencies, but everybody has had sinful behavior that falls on that side, right? Selfish behavior, other things like that. There's a difference between sinning, and I'm just going to use that word instead of evil. Okay. So synonymous, having a sinful behavior and recognizing it and trying to pull away from it, trying to change your course versus trying to justify that it was okay. There's a big difference in that.
Oh yeah.
Your illicit behavior, the sinning, the evilness that happens when you find yourself in a position where you are justifying it as being okay. Man, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're at a point of, I don't want to say a point of no return, because I don't think anybody is, but that to me is evil when you start to justify those means.
Yeah, where you got to recalibrate your moral fabric. Like there's got to be something that wakes you up.
There's no way any of these people at 5 years old, there's no way any of these people that are on here saying that they're happy that Charlie Kirk is killed. There's no way at 5 years old any of those people would see that video and be okay with it. Not a single one of them.
I agree with you.
There was a change.
Yeah, and it wasn't them. When I thought about this coming in, we talked about good and evil. There was a few scenarios this week, and I don't want to let one go away. And I don't think it's necessarily, like, we haven't talked about the shooter once, and I don't care about the shooter. What I want to know the causative factors in our society that are resulting in this. When you had the Ukrainian girls, Irina Zaretska,
another one
in North Carolina,
another video that no one should see, right?
Yes, ever. And it's all over the internet, and she is just, complete. Not who knows if it's premeditated or not, but on the bus on her way home from work, she fled a war-torn country for the opportunity to be free and live out her life here. And she was murdered by somebody that had been previously arrested for 14 felonies. Who's the evil one there? Is it the individual that carried it out? Or is it the construction of a society that allowed him to still be a risk to all the innocent people in it? Because they love to wash their hands of it, right? Well, we're doing the right thing. This is a one-off, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That we're doing this in the name of, whether it was racism or whatever it was that contributed to that individual continuing to be out on the street when his own mother said that he shouldn't have been on the street.
This ties back to the conversation we had at the last Judicial Watch, where we talked about qualified immunity for judges.
Oh, man.
They have all the time. They have all the facts.
Yes.
And they can make a decision. Why do they get away with that decision? What reasonable human being would say, we should let this guy back out on the street? So I think you're right. I think they are to blame, because this guy, shitbag, crazy, whatever he is, he's destined to do the same damn thing he's done 14 other times.
Yeah, but Seth, who elected him? What sociological shifts elected a judge that would...
Because a judge is just like any other politician right now. They run off of emotion.
Yes.
They find what part of society is emotional and not rational. And then you play off of those emotions. You look for people and you base it off of race. You base it off of things that are polarizing, like sexual orientation, whatever else. They literally play these things so that they can get the right people to vote for them. And then they do whatever. They're in a position where they're making decisions that not only negatively affect the people that voted for them, but all they do is appease to them on skin deep issues.
Right.
Literally. Well, this was a black male. and he was wrongfully he had a bad upbringing.
Right.
He wasn't given the best chance. Law enforcement wasn't equal with him as they were with everybody else. Not looking at what the person did, but looking at other facts. I mean, how many times as cops, you guys were both police officers way longer than I was, by a decade. How many times did you go into court with facts and instead they found a way to throw out the whole case because of the stop or something else that does not justify the behavior that the person admitted to?
All the time.
That used to frustrate the shit out of
The
me.
actual crime.
Yeah. That frustrated the shit out of me. Our society failed that poor girl.
Oh yeah.
100%.
This is wild. I'm gonna go on a limb here. All right. I've messed around with AI a little bit.
I was just about to say this.
I
dude.
know.
I know where you're going.
And I'm gonna say it, and I realize
it's not wild.
Yeah, but you think about what the practical application for artificial intelligence are, and you think about what jobs they could reasonably do that may be better than humans. And man, the one that comes to my mind, maybe it's my background, is judges.
100%. You're right. It does sound crazy. Somebody out there is like, you guys are full of shit.
Look, I don't want AI to be responsible for seizing somebody's freedom. Okay, I'm going to get that out there. Like, it's an artificial. That's a really tough construct, but they're completely independent. They have immediate recall of previous case law and previous decisions.
And no emotion.
Yeah, and emotionless. And they could ignore race.
What if there was a world where you could use both, where it would come up with a sentence and a judgment, and a judge would have to overturn it?
I would love to see it used in practical means where a judge still has to endorse it, right? Because again, the opportunity to have immediate recall of recent events in court. And I don't like the idea of AI being able to incarcerate humans. That shit gets
because
real
I think
scary.
there should always be an element of allowing a human to overturn something.
But it goes back to good and evil. How do we reduce some of the evil that our society has generated?
You remove the emotion from things that should have no emotion involved.
So fact-based.
Politics.
Yes.
Also,
fact-based.
I fully believe we are headed towards a path where we are governed by some type of AI or hybrid because it removes the politics. You can't bribe it. You can't employ emotion to it to make decisions. It just works on facts.
The problem is that in order to have a utopia, right? In order to have heaven, in order to have that place, something can't exist. And ultimately what we talk about is something that's impossible, is the fact that how do we get back? How do we make everything work? Well, you have to eliminate the threats. You have to eliminate those things. And that sounds terrible because somebody probably just heard that and was like, what are you saying? Well, here's the thing. I don't know how you get back to that. You have to change society from the roots. We have to start taking care of our kids and teaching them values. Yeah. And we have to slowly allow things to weed their ways out, because otherwise you just end up in a civil war. And that's not good for anybody either.
No, nobody wants that.
That's terrible.
I don't know. There's some people out there that want that.
I know there are, but even those people, man, you start to get to the point where like, where's your heart? Where are you at right now?
And they're just mad.
I know.
They're mad. And that's why I try to remind, don't you be governed by emotions too.
But that's why the left is so strong right now.
I know.
Because they allow the emotions to run.
Exactly.
You're making me think of like a moral framework, right? And I think religion fills that void really well. There are other ways to build it. I would make a strong argument towards that. But I think the easiest and most accessible way for people to build a moral framework in their families is to find religion. You would argue Christianity for sure, and I would argue whatever calls to your heart, go to that. But have that framework, because that's important in society today. I find a lot of that in philosophy. We talk about this a lot, but that's probably what's lacking.
We can argue this one. This will be another podcast. I'll say, well, sometimes your heart's calling to something that's also evil too. So
okay, good point. Right, we've seen that now. That's a good point, and I don't know how a person would differentiate between the two necessarily.
It's tough because is your heart calling to that, or have you been manipulated to the extent that what you are ingesting has dehumanized somebody else or another group of people to the point where you think you're doing good?
Right.
That to me is not your heart calling you to that. You've been hijacked.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right. And I think, God, we didn't even talk about this when it comes to Trump, but I think there is going to be backlash against the institution of higher learning and colleges as we know it. And I think there should be. The number of people that have been fired after this because of the things that they put online, look at the percentage that are teachers. They're educators. They're in our schools teaching our kids. We are willingly putting our kids into these institutions. And the majority of the ones that have come out and been so vocal are professors. Some parents are paying those people to educate their kids.
Yeah, it's important to stay involved in that.
Wild.
We've always had a relationship with our kids' teachers, and my kids have always gone to like small schools or charter schools or private schools or whatever, or homeschooled for that reason. Because and if I had caught wind, man, I would be fucking livid if somebody was talking to my kids like that.
Oh yeah,
like you're getting to talk one-on-one with me.
Well, and we're allowing politics to actually determine the outcome of people's lives. I mean, look at the Western Alliance now. Yes. You have the West Coast Alliance for healthcare.
Yeah, that's just
Washington, Oregon, and California.
Real quietly.
All of a sudden now they all have the same healthcare system that they're going to be working on. That's going to mandate the COVID vaccines and everything. Oh, I just said it. Dang it.
Okay. I think you
Bob,
can say
scratch it.
No, I think you can say it now.
Oh, I can now.
Yeah.
But anyways, now they're going to mandate that stuff, man. Like,
when are we going to learn? Like, how freaking bad does this need to get until people are like, okay, we've gone a little too far,
dude?
Well, let's put the brakes on.
I know you guys gave me a microphone, so I'm going to say it because I told myself the other day, especially when I put out that thing, that I'm going to be bold. So if it makes anybody uncomfortable, it is what it is. But I'll tell you what, when you, going back to Charlie Kirk's message, if you look at Jesus, you don't see one person he discriminated against.
Yeah.
You don't see one person that he pushed away. You only saw love being preached. You saw truth being preached. And you know what? I'm telling you, man, it is one of those things that it freaking pains me sometimes when I try to find a fault in God in those things. When I try to find a fault in how he's let me down. And you know what? When you talk about those things, man, that is my softness. That is my crux. That is the one thing that keeps me going, to understand that there's a different purpose in this life. And man, never once, you talk about the mandate, never once did Jesus ever force anybody or coerce anybody or tell somebody, you must do this. It was all about your free will. You have to make your choices. But here's the promise I can give you. And man, I'm telling you, that it resonates with me so much, especially right now, because so many people have been afraid. Even myself, I saw my fire captain, Steve, his daughter just posted something the other day, how she went on, she was emotional. She talked about how she was a coward. And it was, I haven't seen her in a while, and I saw it. I'm like, oh my gosh, Haley, you're not a coward. She was like, I've been trying to be bold, to go out and talk to people about Jesus. And she goes, and then I was all pumped, and she's like, I was going to go do it. And we went out one night, and she's like, I had like multiple opportunities and I didn't do it. And I'm like, and it's that type of fear that I don't want people to have. And I'm hoping things like Charlie Kirk are going to make people realize that, hey, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of who you are, what you believe in and what you believe is correct, you don't turn down, you don't back off from saying it. It's even hard for me to talk about Jesus on this podcast because you guys know me, you know where my heart is, but other people don't. And it's hard for people to stand up in a crowd of even friends and say where their heart is and say, this is where I stand. This is where I will not separate from. And Charlie did that. And I encourage everybody to do it. You have to find that stance and be willing to say, look, there is something to die for. There is something there is a line you will not cross, and to stand firm in that. I think it's so important. And if people don't have that,
I love, and I'm not making fun of you when I say this.
No.
Every time you talk about Jesus, your eyes get watery.
Yeah, they do.
The passion is on your face. And like that's inspiring, dude.
Dude, you're not alone, man. Like one of I hold you in incredibly high regard, even though I'll talk shit to you and you suck. But I hold you in
more homeless.
But I hold you in a very high regard. Well, I have a really good friend from the military, and he used the same words you did. He said, since this, I'm committed to being more bold, and I don't care about the consequences. And, because he's still in a profession where there's some policy and stuff, and he's like, I don't care. I'm tired of pretending like it's okay that other people are touting the same things we're discussing here. So I'm going to be bold in what I think about my values and my principles, and he's Christian, and my beliefs. And he continues to push that, and he's articulate and all those things. And watching videos of young kids that are now getting on saying, I'm done being quiet. Yes. I'm done not speaking my mind. 32,000 requests went to Turning Point from colleges wanting a Turning Point chapter.
Wow.
After
That's up to that?
32,000. I mean, I'm going off what I'm getting from the internet,
right.
so you got to be able to check that. But that's how many requests they have. This It's crazy that he called it turning point. Because I truly feel in our society, and maybe that's why I feel so different about this one, because I can see myself in him. And there's a lot of people out there saying I am Charlie Kirk, right? And it's not the man.
Yeah.
It's just what he stood for. Unapologetically candid, wants conversation, wants the dialogue.
I regret not watching more of him. And he's younger. He probably
30,
appealed to the younger generation more than our generation. Yeah. But I've watched many videos of him since it, and I'm like, damn,
good.
He was good. And anybody that says all of the dumb shit about him, I'm like, you didn't watch any of it.
Just go watch it.
You didn't watch any of his videos.
The neatest thing that I got from him is that he wasn't afraid of the consequences.
Yeah.
And look what happened.
Which is
like he wasn't afraid of the consequences. But I'll tell you what, outside of the faith thing, that always comes first over anything else. But like you guys know, shit. If it's a ride or die, I've even talked about real estate in the podcast. If everything goes to crap, if I had to stand up for you guys and give it all up, I'd do it. It is what it is, dude. We can freaking grow our own corn. I'm not very good at it, but I mean, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Right?
Yep.
You know what else is telling to me, and maybe you guys can relate. All of my liberal family members, they tend to be or call themselves atheists, and that's interesting to me. You have this group, and I bet a lot of those people that got up there and argue with Charlie, I bet they would go down that same road of like, I don't believe in God. I believe in science or whatever. And it's like
sad life, dude.
It is. And then does that now push them to do things like this because they don't have a moral framework? And is this evil speaking? What is this?
There's got to be some correlation because they also seem really unhappy.
Yes.
Right? And it goes back to the quote that
Angry
I watched
and unhappy.
The random video. I think I put it out to the team where it says, if you're focused on just making yourself happy, you'll be miserable. Or if you're focused on feeling good, you'll be miserable. If you're focused on doing good, you'll be purposeful.
I feel like people like that, dude, they like, you just need a freaking hug, man.
Yeah.
You ever sat down with somebody that actually goes like, look, dude, we're on the other side of the fence and I still love you.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me. And you don't get that from some of these radicals. They can care less. Like, literally, I hope you die. What?
Yeah.
That's what they've been armed with, though. Those sources, they're just regurgitating that spoon-fed narrative from somebody else and all the anger that goes with it. And it arms them with these emotional weapons to respond to facts.
Which is kind of crazy because they are not the protector class. Oh, yeah. You're weak human beings, and you're calling out the majority of the protector class who are capable of fucking violence.
Yeah.
And you're saying you're going to do violence on them. I'm like, I don't think that's a good strategy.
No, you heard me talk about that in the video that I posted because it was just, I had like this deep-rooted thing and I just went on this rant for like 5.5 minutes on my deck. But if that divide becomes so big, you look back historically, and I think I said it in there, you're 100% right. Once you actually learn what marginalized look like and you get persecuted, you're gonna have to go back to the protector class and hope that they protect you and your rights.
Right.
And if you're driven so far apart, they're gonna be like, meh.
It's obviously not 100%, but when you look at the war fighters, the cops, the firefighters, I'd say a fucking majority are in the camp of conservative and
faith-based
and good, right?
That comes with a healthy respect for people. It comes with, falling in line a little bit and understanding order and everything else. I laughed about this. I told my wife, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go down to some small businesses in California, and I'm going to walk in and I'll be like, hey, do you guys support law enforcement? And for anybody that says no, I'm going to go, cool. And I'm going to grab something in there, and I'm going to go walking out the door. And if they jump on the phone, I'm going to be like, who are you calling? I just want to hear who you're calling, because when they get here, I'm going to tell them that they don't support you. I'll go ahead and take the ticket.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and tell them that they don't support you.
Yeah, here's what happened. I walked in and asked them.
Yeah.
They said no.
So I grabbed an item and I went to go walk out.
And in all honesty,
write that in your report.
I would have given it back. I just wanted their faces to realize
right. That they need you.
Yes, absolutely.
And how stupid it is, right?
Yes. Yep.
I mean, you see some of these people are like, oh, I don't like law enforcement. You go try to beat the shit out of somebody, they're going to call PD.
Yeah.
This guy did. Whoa.
Oh, my favorite are the protests and the riots. They'll come out and say, F the cops, blah, 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 blah. And then the fight breaks out. Call the police.
Yes.
Like, literally, it's 3 seconds apart. Be like, F the cops, but I will immediately call
when I encounter
that.
These are the people that...
Anybody that says that, I just immediately shut you down because
don't call us if you don't support law enforcement, please.
Yeah, no,
at all.
I just can't wrap my brain around that because we all know this. The people in the fields that we have worked are some of the most selfless, like just good-hearted people. And sure, there are sometimes bad ones get in, but it's very rare. And sometimes we make mistakes, but it's pretty rare. But in general, just the best human beings I've ever been around in my entire life, and that's it. So when you say these people are bad, I'm like, I immediately in my mind, I'm like, you're a fucking dumbass. Like, you know nothing.
Yeah,
Anything you say from this point forward is invalidated in my mind.
Any use of force that was questioned to any degree, I pulled all these numbers at one point where I looked at the population, how many calls for service, how many actually resulted in uses of force. And then I went back and looked at the ones that actually made like headlines and this was at a time where everybody was trying to post something shitty about a cop. Mm-hmm. It was far less than 0.1% of all of those uses of force. You find me another profession that's that effective. Right? Out of all of these rapid decision uses of force, it was less than 0.1% that anybody can even get a hold of and try to question.
Yeah. I imagine if you looked at doctors who are esteemed in this world, right? They probably are way higher than that in the amount of mistakes that they make.
There's medical malpractice insurance for a reason.
Way higher. Yeah. So yes, I agree with you. It's freaking nonsense.
So let me ask you guys a question. Mm-hmm. So we've been on here for 47 minutes.
Wow.
Where does the country go from here? Like, what do you guys see happening in the wake of all this? Is it just going to die out? Is this going to be something that actually creates a movement? Is there going to be political shift? What do you guys think?
I think a movement has begun. Where it ends up, I do not know. I'm very hopeful by the way it started, right? It did not start with looting and rioting and any of that. It started with prayer and people deciding to be more bold, which in my mind, that does not equate to violence. That equates to just speaking your mind and letting your values come to the surface.
And being unapologetic about it.
Right. Like, we don't have to hide in the shadows and worry that we're going to offend someone on some make-believe fucking value they have in their mind. Like, I think if we base everything we do on, principles, and whether that's the 10 Commandments for you or it's just a principle about life, like, if we base everything on that here on forward, I only see good things happening. I think there will be battles along the way, whether they're spiritual or physical, I don't know, but it'll be a rough road, and it's going to take a long time to fix because there are generational problems. But I foresee a good path. I am optimistic. I'll put it that way.
Man, I think truly, I think
I'm not optimistic.
No, I think the movement was already started. I think to say that he died and that's what started the movement doesn't give him enough credit for what he was trying to inspire.
Agreed.
And what he did was this last election, we had one of the largest turnouts from 18 to 25 than we have in the history of our country. Charlie Kirk's grassroots movements was huge in that because he resonated with them, and he wasn't cool. He didn't wear a bunch of cool stuff, but he spoke, and he was incredibly intelligent and articulate and encouraged debate, civil discourse for the country. Damn, I hope we go back to civil discourse again.
Yeah.
To where somebody can be a conservative and a liberal and live in the same house, and you can still have conversations. I mean, that's destroying marriages and family relationships now. But I would argue, I tend to be conservative. I will gladly meet you in the middle. It's not on our side. I will say that to anybody out there. I don't care. You can give me hate mail. It's not on our side or our willingness to meet you on common ground.
Yeah.
It's the left. And it's the radical left. And I don't know, man, I just don't know if there is. They've made it so okay to believe that people that don't align with you are less than you.
Well, I mean, did you see the video in Congress when they asked for a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk and
yes,
the left refused to be quiet?
It's pathetic.
Why would you do that? Who are you appeasing at this point? Because at this point, I am pissed.
Right.
Who are you trying to appease?
Radicals.
And I think our leadership needs to take note of that, and some dudes need to cross the aisle and fucking dish out some black eyes. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with the black eye. Black eyes are totally
I'm
fine.
not talking about killing anybody. I'm talking about, like, maybe somebody should have got a spanking when they were 4 years old and they didn't.
See, that's what I think about those ones that were raging on the street. There was a part of me that said that.
They didn't get their ass kicked when they were a kid.
If I had a 4-year-old, well, I've got a freaking full-blown terrorist
Your
for a
daughter
5-year-old. She's wild.
But sweet every time I see her.
I know, she makes me laugh a lot. She's hilarious. But if she's in the store and she's losing her mind and she's throwing a temper tantrum, what do?
You're done.
Oh, yeah. I'll whoop her butt, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll give her a paddling. So when an adult who has more violent tools at their disposal throws a temper tantrum, what should we do? Part of me thinks they just need to get the shit kicked out of them. I love that guy in Boise got his ass beat, got pulled off of a scooter and got his ass beat because you purposely go to a vigil that is peaceful, where they're praying for Charlie Kirk's life and afterlife, and he goes out and he says, "Oh, that." All you're doing is trying to incite a fight, and you know what?
And there's going to be people that are going to take the fight.
Yeah, and maybe
while I don't condone that, there's people that are going to take
a little
the fight.
part.
And all it takes,
a little part of me does though.
It's all situational. Like for the most part, I'll walk away. But there's a time where it's like, okay, no.
Oh, and by the way, that guy, doing a little history on him, he previously, the guy that got the shit beat out of him because he got arrested in that incident, so the guy that fought with him, but he'd been previously arrested for, it wasn't like a Lincoln Memorial, but they had a memorial statue or thing down there in Boise. He defecated on it, peed all over it, and was just causing like mayhem and discontent. So it wasn't even firmly about Charlie Kirk. It was just about inciting some sort of visceral emotional response from the other side.
Well, he got it.
Shitbird, yeah.
So I don't know where we go, man. It's I truly hope the movement becomes about honest, stern conversation. Otherwise, the country's just inexorably divided.
You telling me that 3 million people showed up in is it Great Britain or England?
UK.
Yeah, UK.
I sure hope that's real.
I still don't know what the difference is.
I don't either.
Confused.
Sorry, whoever's out there. But I saw some pictures, and there were crowds of people, and they're fucked. Well beyond
countries.
we are because of migration policies, a lot of things going on over there.
See,
right?
but they see themselves in him.
Their cult, yes.
Yeah, that group sees themselves in
I
him.
hope they're not too late to take their country back because their culture's at risk of just dying out.
Yeah.
But that inspires me. That's like, fuck yeah, man. That's what we need to see.
Dude, it was in a
across the
lot of
world.
countries, bro. It was in a lot of countries. And it's not about the man. You're right. But a lot of people see themselves in what he did.
Yeah.
And they've been silent. And their voices have been suppressed and marginalized.
Yeah.
And I just think that's why you're getting this big, like, man, because I don't know if you guys feel, dude, I felt it in my chest, right? And I've seen ugly stuff and I've seen, all of that, but this one just hit different. And then you follow up and go on social media and just, man, the world is jacked right now.
Yeah.
So what do? Be bold and do everything you can in your small little circles.
You just inspired me.
What?
You just inspired me that quick. All right.
Very good.
What are you inspired to do?
You guys will find out later.
Oh, boy.
What do you got? What do you think?
I don't know. Like I said, I think I made my point really clear that I hope, hearing Charlie talk about Jesus and everything else, that's all I can pull from it. Like, society is its own thing that I haven't been able to navigate and try to figure out. But that's my hope. My hope is, like, if he can turn people to Christ, then I'm all about it. And like I said, I'm not all about like, oh, I'm glad he died. I'm just saying that what's done is done. And if there's a plan that I don't understand that's greater than what I will ever be, then I hope that it comes to fruition, exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I love seeing the new wave. For those out there that are in that younger generation, I am, for the first time in a really long time, it's not that I haven't been proud of you, but I am proud of you and the fact that you're standing up and you're starting to engage one another and you're asking for a chapter at your school and you realize what's on the horizon, that this is going to be, maybe it doesn't have to be your fight, but this can be your push.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. Good for you. Honestly, in an opportunity to take it back and actually have some say in what your future holds. And I think it starts with a recognition that colleges stopped trying to teach you a long time ago.
Yep.
They're just telling you what to think, not teaching you how to think.
And people need to be able to be free thinkers and put their ideas out there, even if somebody disagrees with them. However, we also, candidly, since we talked about good and evil, need to get away from teaching the bullshit.
Yeah.
The stuff that we know is not true.
Mm-hmm.
We need to stop that.
I agree. And maybe
Cut it out.
Maybe that starts with who's teaching.
Yep.
Somebody said it the other day. They said, you realize that for a lot of college kids, Charlie Kirk was their best professor.
Yeah.
They learned more from him than they did from any of the professors they paid for. Just because he would bring up new thoughts, and all of a sudden, that was the most impressive part when he's talking to kids, and you could watch the light bulb, and you're like, huh. I mean, he may not have totally converted them or changed their mind, but he made them think. And they walk away from there going, he was not what I thought he was.
Yes.
That's what I want to be.
Yeah.
That's my motivation from this. I don't want people to look at me and be like, oh, Eric's conservative. He's a right winger, whatever. We can sit down and have a conversation. I just hope they walk away going, he's not what I thought he was.
Well, and same thing for that professor. Sounds like he's getting fired from NIC. You guys saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can enjoy. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no problem with somebody losing their job over something like that. You are teaching our kids, and then you're going to say something like, welcome to hell.
Yeah,
you can get out.
Yeah.
So
well, welcome to Thunderdome. I guess I was a cop and I couldn't say anything on social media. Military, I wasn't supposed to say anything either. So like, welcome.
We've been living this for years.
Yeah, it reminds me of that meme out there where the guy's got the rope around his neck and he's like, "Oh, first time, huh?"
I had a lot of opinions that I kept to myself when I was in law enforcement.
Oh yeah,
fire.
Sucks.
Yeah, and I'm done.
And I know how to shut my mouth, but I'm not going to freaking.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, nope.
I'm not. My takeaway from this is I'm going to continue to be outspoken and bold and
just speak the truth. Just speak the truth.
Absolutely.
It's that easy.
You guys both have 3 cameras on your phone? I only have 2.
Oh, you're so old.
Sorry.
I firmly believe, and I'm hopeful that it inspires, just like I said, thousands and thousands of people, of young people, to take up the reins and do the same thing he was doing, because it's going to change, even if it's one mind here, one mind there.
Even if incremental,
it's going to change it. Yeah. I think it's important. I'm filled with hope, even though obviously it was incredibly tragic. And
the first couple of days I was not, but there's like this conversation's been good. But think about where he started, right? He sat with like a flip up table outside of a college with a question and a coffee cup.
Right.
And when he was assassinated, there were 3,000 kids there, all scrapping to get in there and hear him speak.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Like that's where it starts. So we can make our little, incremental changes.
Yeah.
And I will say, with this whole thing, and I said it before, and it pissed a lot of people off. I'm values based now, man. Values over blood. It's not that I don't.
That stuck with me. You told me that the other day.
Yep.
And that stuck with me, and you're absolutely right, because that's, I came up. Blood is everything, right? But it's like I've seen evil in my own family. I've been the victim of it. I hate to say that, but and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
You just get to a certain stage of life, and I think I said that in that video. You get to a stage where you start putting parents in the ground, and all of a sudden you start thinking about the finite nature of life. And if I'm going to invest in people, it's going to be with similar values to mine, right? Like I'll still be nice to my family on holidays. Like we'll eat turkey together. That's cool. But
I'll tell you what, that's one thing I'm learning to love about my mom. So I told you guys she's liberal, right?
Yeah.
She came up here and she votes Democrat and everything else. And we have a lot of conversations, but my mom and I have always had the ability to have a conversation and give each other a hug afterwards. And it's good.
Yeah, and that's, yes.
And you know what? My mom also was not at home celebrating what just happened. My mom was horrified.
Right. And by that, and
there's a difference.
Right.
I never said political affiliation when I said values.
Right.
That's good values.
Right.
Like, and you can have discourse.
And that's where I come
That's
back
the
to,
point.
I don't know who to fight. And when I hear people that are like, fuck them all, I'm like, that's no.
There's a lot of good ass Democrats and good ass people on that side.
100% are. And I don't want anybody to forget that, because that's not the answer.
No. That's what I'm afraid of too.
I think a lot of them are waking up and going, man, which side am I?
You either need to take back your side or you need to get on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
it's a pretty clear line between good and evil.
And your point, dude, the looting and burning of cities when you don't get your way, trying to light a building on fire with people inside of it in Portland.
Yeah.
Or vigils, prayer, hope. Right?
It's pretty fucking clear.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm hopeful, man.
Yeah. We all got shit to do.
Let's plan a night to have the kids over to our house, and let's turn on a Charlie Kirk watch night and watch some debates with them. That would be fun.
Let's do it at the brokerage and invite everybody.
Let's do it.
Actually, that would be cool. I would like to see that.
Let's do that.
And honestly, it reasons with kids, man. That's why that.
I guarantee you, I can find like an hour-long Charlie Kirk compilation. It is freaking badass.
Well, did you see Elon said that Elon's contributing $2 to $3 million for a movie about Charlie Kirk. That he wants it done right. He wants it done, and he said, "I'm going to commit this much."
He's all about it right now. Elon is just a stud right now.
He's on fire.
Yeah,
he is on fire
because he understands, because he has good values, and he hasn't always been conservative. He's been on the other side, whatever.
Right.
But I mean, look how long he appeased, not because he wanted to. I mean, he's got his product, but how long he appeased people that were like environmentalists.
Yeah.
All this shit with Tesla, right? All these science-based people, all of a sudden he's switching sides, not necessarily switching sides. I argue to say that his beliefs are probably still the same.
Yeah.
He's just seen a political spectrum switch.
Yeah.
Right.
And not necessarily having to change his mind with it.
Right. Because for him, it wasn't about politics ever. And I don't know if he's ever said that he was conservative. He's going with the side that is about free speech and the betterment of society.
Same
and
values.
Other people are assigning
Shift
political.
of political.
Yep.
Political
crazy.
sphere is shifting.
He's actually.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, he's actually a pretty good barometer of the political landscape in our country, I think, because he's just going with, he just only sees things by way of values and just kind of moves.
The same with Joe Rogan. Dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's gone. I mean, he's been on both sides. He's like, what the hell is going on?
Yes.
We're crazy.
This conversation was very important to me. Like, I needed this.
Yeah.
It's important to have I don't want to use the word echo chamber because we disagree. An echo chamber makes me think people that all just like, all agree the same shit, right? Sometimes we disagree, and it's important. I think this type of discourse is what our society is lacking. So thank you guys for this.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you for you guys out there listening. I hope there was some value brought to you, and I hope you can have these conversations with people in your life so that we can kind of all steer each other towards good.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing out of this.
Nope. I love you guys. I love you guys out there too. It's not as bad as some people are saying that it is. Like we have a path.
Yep.
We have a path.
Would love to hear comments, of course, good ones. Don't leave your nasty comments somewhere else. I don't want to hear them.
On your couch.
But good comments or conversations. If you guys want to jump conversations, shoot us an email or drop a comment on the box there. But thank you guys.
Yep.
Cool.
Later.